Forward to get to the gap. With MagMongoSlade. Shoot. He don't miss.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. Today, we're going to talk about Smackdown from March the 22nd, 2023. Oh, my stars and garters. There's a lot of wrestling on this show. I guess all the people with the stopwatches, you were happy this week, huh? Everybody wrestled this week. So, we got some wrestling to talk about, Not a lot to go off of in terms of news and notes. But I did see that the final boss, The Rock, well, Meltzer, if we being honest, is suggesting that The Rock keep it PG because that's what the board wants. And the board wants it PG and The Rock should keep it PG. I don't know who told Meltzer this because I didn't look that deeply into it and I don't care. Who's going to tell The Rock, hey, stop doing that? What are you going to do? Fine him? You going to send him home? You going to suspend him? You going to suspend The Rock? That's what you're going to do? I don't think so. So, unless it starts affecting the sponsors or something like that, I don't see the problem with what The Rock has been doing, and I don't see anybody changing what The Rock has been doing. So, I don't care about that. Roman Reigns went nutty on Pat McAfee's show, though, saying a lot of interesting things about people. So I guess we should talk about that a little bit. First up on the barbecue was CM Punk. Roman Reigns says about CM Punk, I'm not the type of person who, when I get to a place and say this wasn't what I expected, I'm not a punk who gets to the top of the mountain and says, I'm going to complain about this. No. When you achieve your goals, enjoy the dream. This is what you've been working for, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Wow. Considering CM Punk was a guy who, he made it to the top of the mountain quite a few times. He was a guy who got the 400-day run and all that kind of stuff. And still, people think that he was underutilized, disrespected. So I get why he feels that way. He called Cody a crybaby and says that if his fans weren't such bitches, then people would be smitten with him versus The Rock. And that is true. I mean, there's still a lot of people who are into more The Rock and Roman, and we see that there's a clear path for Rock and Roman in the future, next year probably. So if I got to deal with this now in order to get that later, I guess so. It's fine. I'm not tripping, but there are a lot of other people who are. So, that's interesting. He also mentioned that he's nowhere near done because he's only 38. And I'm thinking Roman was 1 foot out the door already. But he's talking about, barely scratching the surface about what he can do. And I'm thinking that he's probably trolling, and he is on his way out. But there's no telling. I mean, Roman is young. He's younger than I thought he was. I thought he was like 40 already. But I'm cool with it if he wants to hang around. I mean, guys are, hanging around this business a lot longer lately than they used to. Remember, Michael Hayes retired at like 35. So sometimes guys get out of this business young. So he had a lot of fun. I didn't watch the whole interview with Pat McAfee. I just watched some clips. I simply do not have time to sit down and listen to Roman Reigns go off on his enemies for an hour or whatever, and Pat McAfee can grate on a guy. It's bad enough listening to him on Raw. I don't want to listen to him in my free time either. All right, let's get into SmackDown. Santos Escobar defeats Rey Mysterio with help from a Dominic Mysterio. So they showed a vignette earlier of Escobar wanting Rey to retire because Rey took something from him that he cared about, but he gave Rey a pass because Rey was his hero. But then he's finally had enough. So now he's going to retire Rey Mysterio. He's going to end his career. And that was something that he indicated during the match, that he wanted Rey to go away. He wanted Rey to, I don't want to say die. He just wanted them to go away. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye, 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 bye. And Rey botched a spot in this match and got absolutely buried by commentary. I mean, they were quick, too. Ring rust on Rey Mysterio here. He's been out of the ring for a while. He's so rusty. I'm like, dang. You bring so much attention to this botch. I feel bad for young Rey, even though he's like 48 or something like that. Anyway, Dominic Mysterio tripped Rey, distracted him, and Santos Escobar hit a 619 Phantom Driver. He wins the match. So we're going back to Dominic and Rey, which feels, of course, very rushed and slightly out of place, if I must say so. Clearly, the plan was for these guys to go back to their feud, but Rey was injured, so they had to detour a little bit. Still, I guess if this was the plan all along, you have no choice. But it feels weird because Dominic hasn't really interacted with Rey much at all lately. I mean, he hasn't really had too much to deal with Rey. And now all of a sudden he cost Rey this match for seemingly no reason. And it works because Dominic, well, they had done a good job of killing Dominic the last couple of weeks. So that kind of begs the question, like, if you knew you were going to do this and you're going to put him in a match against Rey, why would you not protect him? And instead of beating him like a drum for a month, at least, keep him off TV or put him in somebody's corner or something. But they weren't thinking about that. So, Escobar seems like he's going to get bumped from WrestleMania. And it's probably going to be Dominic versus Rey. Or they're going to do a 6-man tag. And it's going to be Dominic and Legado del Fantasma versus Rey Mysterio and the LWO. Which will probably be Carlito and Dragon Lee. Oh my goodness. Unless everybody's masks and hair and stuff like that on the line, I probably don't care. I'm going to continue the hair versus mask push until it finally happens. Because as long as these people are feuding, the possibility is there. So the storyline, the spine, the A story of the night was the forming of the Naomi Bianca Belair tag team. And it starts out with Bayley thanking Naomi for last week, saying that she didn't expect this girl to help, but Naomi says that she has a problem with Io, and so, of course, she went out there to help Bayley. Bianca Belair is not minding her own business. She's upset at Bayley, doesn't think Bayley is really sorry, but only sorry that this thing has blown up in her face, and she doesn't really want Naomi involved with this. To that end, Bianca and Naomi are walking away. Naomi wants Bianca to help her for this match against Damage Control. Bianca is like, nah, not really. But, you don't need to do this. You probably should just stay out of it. You don't need to fight Io. And Naomi's like, look, this is bigger than us. I can't change the past and what you had to go through. This is about Damage Control, and we need to take care of Damage Control. Yada, yada, yada. So she goes out there to have her match with Io, and it's a solid enough match. Pretty lengthy. Io wins the match with the over the moonsault. Damage Control, of course, got involved. After the match, they continued to jump Naomi, and Bianca ran out there to make the save. They had done a good job of having Io take out Bayley earlier in the night. She took out Bayley during her entrance. The eyeball thing about that is she seemingly had taken out Bayley by herself, which is fine if you're a normal-sized person. But if you're like one of these really small Japanese women, I would have liked to see like some kind of metal object or a stick or something like that to actually wrapped across Bayley's head. To just see like a small woman beat up like a medium-sized woman is very strange. I mean, Io is so tiny. She's just super tiny. So it's not really believable. But anyway, Auntie Pam doing her best to try to make this thing work. Io won the match. Naomi got jumped. Bianca came out there to make the save. Crowd was very happy. Even though they weren't chanting for her like they were last week. She let them down last week. She came out there and made the save. Naomi got spit on her face. And then Bianca got beat up too. So Damage Control beat up both of them. Later, Bianca is pouring bottles of water on Naomi's face, trying to clean her eyeballs out. And Tiffany Stratton, who much ado about nothing for the last 3 weeks, showed up, said toodles, made fun of Naomi, and left. And that was pretty much it. Poor Tiffany Stratton. Ain't looking good now. I got an idea of what's about to happen with Tiffany Stratton, and I don't like it. I got an idea. I got a feeling about what's about to happen to Tiffany Stratton, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But we're going to have to discuss that in a second. But now, Bianca. They turned Bianca into Drew McIntyre, who was, of course, Bret Hart in 96. They're basically just a whiner, you know. You ruined my life for 2 years. It's like, yeah, that's kind of what bad guys do. You know, I know that it was hard. I know that it was rough. But Jesus, do we have to go through this every week? I understand her mentioning it to Naomi. I understand she doesn't want Naomi to get beat up by Damage Control. But there has to be a better way to present this idea than her coming across as being very frantic and crybaby-ish and angry. So, I don't know. Maybe she should just ignore Bayley and talk only to Naomi or whatever. But clearly, Naomi and Bianca are about to form this tag team and wrestle Kairi and Asuka. For the tag team titles at WrestleMania. It's fine. Just fine. Bianca went from wrestling in hot feuds and main events to tag teaming with Naomi because they didn't have anything for Naomi to do. So that seems tough. That's a fall off, bro. It's unfortunate, but sometimes people got to take a back seat, I guess. So I'm okay with this. I don't like that Naomi was in this match and lost. I'm not saying she should have won. I'm saying she should have wrestled somebody she could beat. She should have wrestled Kairi because she could beat Kairi, and it's not that big a deal, right? Or it could have been a disqualification to keep Naomi looking strong somewhat, and keep the heat on Damage Control. But they wanted to give Io a win to try to further her heat. I get it. It's fine. Now, in terms of Tiffany Stratton hadn't been on TV in 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm guessing that has maybe a little, probably a lot, to do with how they were rejigging this tag team division. Because I think most people thought that it was going to be Bianca and Jade Cargill. They even teased it by having Jade Cargill get in the face of Damage Control. So they teased Jade Cargill, they teased Bianca and Tiffany Stratton. So it seemed like the idea, or the original idea, might have been Naomi and Jade Cargill as a tag team, with Bianca wrestling Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. But now it seems like they reversed Jade's spot with Bianca's spot, and Bianca and Naomi are going to be the tag team, which means that Jade Cargill is going to probably have to wrestle Tiffany Stratton. Now look, here's the thing. I don't have a problem with that, except for the fact that Jade Cargill should win her first match, which means that Tiffany Stratton is just going to go out there, look great, and take an L. And that sucks. That's no good. That's no good. Now, how did I come to this understanding? Well, I figure because they did a vignette for Jade Cargill this week, saying that she's finally officially on SmackDown, and she's going to make her first appearance on SmackDown next week. This is 2 weeks before WrestleMania. They're probably going to slapdash a match on there that doesn't matter. Probably a showcase of some sort. And I would imagine that this showcase is probably going to be an open challenge for Jade Cargill. Now, that's just a guess. If I'm wrong, so what? You know, everybody's fantasy booking. Because I don't see how they can create anything that matters in a week and a half anyway. So let's say that Jade Cargill is going to have a WrestleMania open challenge. Well, who do you suggest they put in that match? Natalya? Mia Yim? B-Fab maybe? Zelina Vega? No, it's probably going to be Tiffany Stratton. And while Tiffany is great, I don't like the idea of her WrestleMania debut basically just being a jobberella for Jade Cargill. It feels to me like Ultimate Warrior Triple H. Like that's how it feels to me if they were to do that. That would suck. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong and Tiffany Stratton at least wins the Women's Battle Royal or something. Maybe that's what they're going to do. And maybe they're going to have Jade Cargill enter the Women's Battle Royal and she could win that and Tiffany could lose that match. It's not a big deal. It's a Battle Royal. But I think they're probably going to have an open challenge for Jade Cargill. That seems to be the thing that makes sense. They did it a couple of years ago with Cody, where Seth Rollins had an unnamed opponent. I don't see them doing unnamed opponent for Jade Cargill. I think them just going to do open challenge. It's not great, but why not? I mean, there's still a lot of matches to fill on this show. There's still some spots that need to be filled. And I can see Jade Cargill getting one of those spots. They definitely going to want to do something. Because it's ever since Mercedes Moné made her debut in AEW, everybody's like, man, where's Jade Cargill? She's been there 8 months already, which is absolutely true. She has been there a long time and hadn't done anything. And it was becoming very questionable. But it's clear that they probably were juggling ideas and things got switched up and changed from the looks of things. So now they're going to actually start using her. So I would imagine she's going to look good. I would have put her in something that she can win, where she can look important and what she can do matters. So either she wins the Women's Battle Royal or she beats somebody in some kind of quasi squash match. And that should not be Tiffany Stratton. It should not be. All right. Kevin Owens and Nick Aldis were backstage. Pretty Deadly showed up. Kevin Owens is super fucking annoying. I want him to go to AEW tomorrow. All right. I want him to just sign a lifetime contract to AEW where he can show up looking like a bum, like the rest of the bums. And I'm talking Kyle O'Reilly. Can you see this guy? The sunken. He looks like he just stepped out of a mental hospital. Eddie Kingston. These guys are like, Eddie Kingston looks like a Kevin Owens stunt double. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys are bums. He can just go with the rest of it. He adds nothing to the product. He adds nothing to the product. Kevin Owens reminds me so much of like Eddie Edwards and TNA, where it's like, why are you still here? I can't believe you're still here. You don't do anything. You don't really matter. He peaked with the Steve Austin match. And then he doubled up and got another. This guy main evented 2 WrestleManias. Now, one of them is a night one. Well, both of them were night ones. Now that I think about it, of course. But he main evented 2 WrestleManias. Think about that. And one of them was against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Kevin Owens. The caliber of this person. Look at the state of this man. You talk about this business as hot as ever. Sheesh. I'm surprised we even still have a goddamn business because of fat ass fucking Kevin Owens. Anyway, he wants to fight Pretty Deadly. They don't really want to fight him. And he picked Randy Orton as a partner. They're supposed to be opponents. This is why I don't like triple threat matches. They're supposed to be opponents in 2 weeks. They're going to be a tag team the week before. This is stupid. This only means that Kevin Owens is probably about to catch an RKO. But who cares? Who really gives a shit? This was fun. AJ Styles is in his basement absolutely ripped. I mean, he just ripped to shreds in this basement. LA Knight shows up at AJ Styles' home, his residence, his living space, where his children live and breathe. And LA Knight's outside blowing the horn like a madman. AJ Styles comes out. Now, they actually explained why WWE had cameras there, which I think might be the first time ever that they went out of their way to explain it. So their explanation of how there just happened to be WWE cameras there is that they were documenting AJ Styles' preparation for WrestleMania. And so he's in his home gym. I mean, looking absolutely yoked. And all this horns blaring. He goes outside and it gets real hillbilly real quick. You know, it get real southern twang all up in this thing. They're fighting on the lawn. They did a really cool gig with the body cam footage. They botched it by switching to the camera, even though they said like this was as far as our cameras could go. And then they switched it to the camera. But they had body cam footage, and LA Knight got arrested. I'm like, how do you know which hillbilly to arrest? They're both like angry drunk uncles fighting on the lawn. AJ Styles is yelling at LA Knight. LA Knight's yelling at AJ Styles. If he doesn't show up next week on SmackDown, he's coming back. He's gonna go to jail, but he's coming back. He's giving the police officers, I know you guys are just doing your jobs. You're doing a good job. You're doing a fine job. But I'm coming back. I'm like, what in the hell? No, it was tame in comparison to all the other home invasions. I would have preferred for LA Knight to just basically kick the door in, but I guess, that would have been a little too much. But it would have been very nice if he'd like kicked the door in and attacked him while he was in his own home gym or something like that. That'd have been fun. But him luring AJ Styles outside, so he can't get shot with the shotgun or stabbed with a butcher knife or something like that, it's okay. It was fun. They're trying to make this thing interesting, so I'm okay with it. The Street Profits defeated AOP. Now, the Street Profits had their original theme back, which I was very happy about. But then after they won, they changed back to their garbage theme. I don't think WWE even knows what's going on anymore. This match was actually solid. It had storyline built into it. It had stakes because it's part of this tag team thing that they're doing. I don't know why it's a tournament. I'm done asking. I can't figure it out. I can't put two and two together. How when you win a match on Raw, you're in? You win a match on SmackDown. Oh, you got to win another match next week, though. Why? New Day only had to win one match to get in. Why I got to win three? Like, what the? Well, two. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Anyway, good match. I just don't have much negative to say about it. AOP lost, which is, surprise, surprise. Everything involving Karrion Kross is not going very well. Not his fault, though. Not his fault. All right, so they did the Roman and Cody face-to-face. I have to say, bros and gals, this was very weak. This was a whole lot of not good. The long and the short of it is, can you really trust your partner? Can you really trust your partner? Can you really trust The Rock? Can you really trust Seth freaking Rollins? Oh my God. We had to go through this whole thing just so these guys can say, do you really trust your partner? Who cares? At this point, it's too late. All right? It's too late. It's too late to do the can we coexist. Please don't do that. I don't need WrestleMania size can they coexist. I don't need that. That sucks. Anyway, Cody lied again, which is his favorite thing. He claims that the first team to beat the Shield was the Rhodes team. It might be true for the tag team championships, because I know that Dustin and Cody defeated Roman and Seth in a tag team match for the tag team titles, but I don't know if that was the first time they lost. Now, the Shield as a trio. I don't know who's the first team they beat the Shield as a trio, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't the Rhodes family. I'm pretty sure of that. But Cody likes to lie. He loves to lie, according to Bryan Danielson, who also loves to lie. Roman Reigns called Cody a number 2, so he's the greatest number 2 of all time. But that's like the second or third time he's called him that. Anyway, Roman leaves after Cody. He refused to shake Cody's hands. And then he snapped his fingers. Here comes Jay. Here comes Solo. The usual. Cody is standing there. Here comes Rollins. Here comes Jay. I should have said Jimmy the first time. It don't matter. You know what I'm talking about. And they end the show with a standoff of everybody just looking at each other. And Roman is confused about, wait a minute, your guys came too? But you said your guys weren't coming. You're like, oh, of course his guys came too. Of course they did. Can they coexist? This was the weakest thing they've done in this storyline yet. And it involves Roman Reigns, and that's unfortunate. He did a better job of selling this show, of selling WrestleMania when he was on Pat McAfee, than he did on this show. This sucked. You know, I don't know what more to say, bro. I don't know. The show was fine, I guess, but it was mostly a damage control episode. There's a lot of damage control on here. It seems like the Roman thing is in the mud. Everybody's waiting for The Rock and Cody to do something because Roman's been on the sideline for so long now. And they got the aura of these guys together in the ring, but it needed something to pop to make their match matter. And I'm guessing we're going to have to wait till night one of WrestleMania to get something to make their match the main event of WrestleMania night 2. Which is unfortunate because we're supposed to have some tremendous heat right here. But The Rock stole it all. The Rock stole all the heat. He took the heat and run off with it. So we got to wait till Raw to see what The Rock and Cody does. Because Rock and Roman are not interested in fighting each other, apparently. They're only fighting over the title, which is a small issue at this point. You know, they've been talking about their families all this time. So, anyway, let me know what you guys thought of SmackDown. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. I appreciate your time. Peace.